Wonder Woman issue 782. This is a pretty interesting book. I think I'm still not 100% grasping this next arc. You know, the first arc was great. This arc is still building its momentum up, but it's also building up a larger world for Diana, and it's giving her something new to do, which is kind of interesting to see. You see Cloonan and Conrad kind of like building what their overarching story is going to be, which is kind of an interesting thing to see being built. We pick up right where we left off in the previous issue, and we see that a bunch of Wonder Women are flying outside the plane, trying to attack her and Deadman. And we get a nice scene where they try to fight their way through this horde of Wonder Women, and you see that Boston punches one of them, it shatters like glass, and instantly you're like, okay, so these things aren't human and they're not mind-controlled people, they are their own beings. Well, what kind of beings could they be? We'll come back to that at the end. And it looks like a bunch of people are trying to get thrown out of the plane, but Wonder Woman comes in and stops them, and it looks like an easy victory for the Wonder Woman, and she's like, they're nothing, they're just cheap copies. So she lands the plane, and everything is hunky-dory. We cut later to Iceland, and we see that Boston used some kind of power to tamper with the minds of the people aboard the plane, so that none of them really knew what happened, trying to help keep the low profile for what Diana and him are up to. And then you just see they had a long day, and Diana's kind of wiped. She's like, I have so many things I need to do. I got to get back to Themyscira and talk to my mother, but if those things are coming, I don't know what to do there. I got to give this sword back to Ziggy, and I got to talk to Steve. And she's just like, there's so much I got to do since I've been back from the dead. I don't know how I can keep up with it. Boston's like, yeah, it happens. You know, when you die, you got a lot of unfinished business, so good luck. Let's just take it easy right now, get some shut-eye. Tomorrow, they're headed to Sweden. So they head to Sweden, and you just see they're having a nice... Just a nice cup of wine, or glass of wine, I should say. Yeah, Boston's drinking wine. 8:15 a.m. Something else I really like about this book, especially with the art, is that you just see, as the story kind of progresses along, the corpse that Boston is piloting gets like more and more decrepit and broken, which is very interesting. It's just kind of nice. You know, Diana's being very happy and forthcoming, where she's just like, yeah, this is what Ziggy was like. He was pretty cool. I had fun when I was dead. He was a good guy. Her phone rings, and she realizes she's got a voicemail from Steve, so she goes to call him back. And it's just a bunch of people trying to talk to each other, but not really getting the right service. So it's like, hey, Diana, where are you? What are you doing? What's up? What's going on with you? And it's like, oh, you're in Sweden. Why are you in Sweden? You can't get any connection there or anything like that. Then we cut to somewhere in a disclosed location. Dr. Psycho, or Cisco as he's going by now, is doing like, you know, some televangelist shit where he's promoting himself on screen. He's like, look at all these naysayers and non-believers. They don't really understand what I am preaching, what I am giving to you all for free. There's a revolution coming, people. You have to see it. Let me channel one of these people through this person read my book. They know the truth. Let me channel them through me. He does like some weird twitch, and he suddenly pretends he's a new person. Or maybe he is a new person. They never explicitly say. But Dr. Psycho is full of bullshit. So he's probably lying. He didn't have anybody channel through him. He's just a lying son of a gun. So as he's doing that, he turns into another person. He feels like a champion, a spirit speaking through him, and he pushes it through, and he's like, so tell us your name. And we don't hear the name of the person he is pushing through. It pixelates itself out, and we see that Edda is watching this on television when she gets a call from Steve like, hey, are you seeing what's on the news? It's like these Wonder Women are attacking a plane. And she's like, okay, that's not normal for anything in this world. That's not good. Get right on it, kiddo. So we see Steve and Edda are going to figure out the Wonder Woman problem, where we go back to Sweden. I like this a lot. You just see, again, this is just a nice Wonder Woman moment where her and Boston are walking along the snowy path, and he's kind of cold because his corpse is literally freezing, and it's going to fall apart and break. So she's like, here, take my coat, and she gives him a hug, and it's like, you know, Diana, not many people would volunteer to hug a stiff. She's like, hey, that's what friends are for. Nice. It's an interesting relationship that you wouldn't be expecting to develop. You know, I mean, if I was writing a Wonder Woman book or a Deadman book, I don't think I would put either of them in their respective counterparts' book. Like, I'm just like, okay, interesting pairing, but I think it kind of works because Diana's a little bit more, you know, free going when it comes to certain things. So with the way the dead man lives his life, or doesn't live his life because he's dead, makes sense to me. So they're walking down the path. Everything about it, it's pretty interesting. You see that Boston's trying to feel like the power. What's going on here? He's like, well, there's definitely something wrong and something personal going on here. It's like a strong connection to the earth. And it feels like it's unfinished business, because sometimes when people die, they leave behind like vibrations of what their life was meant to do. And he had something unfinished to happen here. So they find this like marked grave with a bunch of symbols on it. And they're like, that must be it. Well, Diana, why don't you do what you gotta do and unfinish this business? So she takes the sword. She's like, Ziggy, thank you for your friendship, for your bravery, for everything you did for me. Stabs it into the ground. She feels a little bit better, but instantly gets a call from Steve. And Steve's like, yo, Diana, are you seeing what I'm seeing on this news, girl? She's like, dude, bad timing. I think it's kind of cool that they're like bringing Steve back in this way. Because Steve is a character that I know some people like, and some people are like, oh yeah, this isn't really much of anything. But hey, Steve could work just fine, and he does okay in this book, I gotta say. Nothing wrong with having a Steve Trevor in here. So it looks like they're going to have to head back to the States because more Wonder Woman are showing up. And it's like, okay, that's not good. On the way back, we see that the corpse is literally about to fall apart. So we have to do, a burial at sea. Diana, so she drops the corpse, and up comes Boston Brand, his usual looking colors. Everything's going great. It's like, now that I'm up to par, why don't we see who's really doing this to mess with you, Diana? What's going on with you, darling? Who's affecting you? Who's manipulating you, making copies of you? And we see like this guide and a bunch of reflections. We're like, hey, your reflections, they make you the rightful domain. This is my world. This is where I live. You come to die. And you come to me, my Diana, for I am the image maker, master of Mirror World. Okay. Don't know who this is. Is this a different character than Mirror Master? Okay, I guess so, because he's the image maker. Maybe this is a different version of Mirror Master, but whatever. It's like the Puppet Master from Marvel. Is that what we're saying here? Okay, that's kind of fun. Again, there's something very Wonder Woman about the idea of her being in bondage or entrapped. So the fact that a man is literally turning her into his twisted image of what a Wonder Woman should be is very common and very in theme for what the books of Wonder Woman have been like in the past. So I'm on board with that. Some weird military dude manipulating Wonder Woman's public image with a bunch of weird copies that literally turned to glass. Cool. I'm on board for that. I think it works fine. And that's where that part of the book ends, and it's a very fun ending, but we also get another road to the Trial of the Amazons where we see the Faruka's tribe, and there's like a griffin attacking them all, and they try to fight it, and Artemis comes in and wins the day. It's like, how was this sent here? Why is it here? What is this griffin doing here? It's like, it came from Themyscira, and you're like building up the tension between those two warring factions about to break off and attack each other. Very cool stuff there. I am super excited for Trial of the Amazons, and I'm waiting for Wonder Woman to really get involved in that, because she's not yet. So overall, I like this book. It's very fun. It does some interesting stuff. Some of it, like, wow, this is an interesting choice. Just having like Boston and Diana hanging out a lot and building up this weird reputation with Dr. Psycho trying to be like this preacher man who wrote a book about the truth and the misdirection and the delusion of what everything came before him. It's interesting stuff. Kind of silly, but I can get behind it because it's really well written and the artwork's fun. So I do enjoy this book, and I do think a lot of people are going to enjoy it too. So Wonder Woman 782, I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.